Listen up, awakened ones. That person who keeps sliding into your space with that tilted head, that suspicious smile, asking, "Hey, are you okay?" over and over isn't being kind. They're not concerned. They're conducting surveillance. They're scanning you like a spiritual X-ray machine, looking for fractures in your energy field, weaknesses in your armor, cracks they can exploit later. And if you've been feeling that strange tension when certain people ask you that question, your instincts aren't lying. Your internal alarm system is screaming because it recognizes a predator dressed in concern's clothing. This isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition your soul learned the hard way. Here's what most people don't understand about energy vampires and spiritual manipulators. They don't announce themselves with darkness and threats. They come disguised as caregivers, concerned friends, the ones who always seem so worried about your well-being. But pay attention to the timing. Notice when they ask. It's always after you've had a breakthrough, right when you're building momentum, exactly when your light starts shining brighter. That's not coincidence. That's calculated interference. They're not checking on you, they're checking you. And today, we're exposing every tactic they use, every sign you need to recognize, and exactly how to seal yourself off from their probing so completely that they'll never find an entry point again. 80% of emotional manipulation happens through false concern, and 100% of awakened souls have encountered someone who weaponizes care. These people study you when you're not looking. They catalog your triggers, memorize your weak spots, and file away every vulnerability you accidentally reveal. Then they wait. They wait for the perfect moment when you're already stretched thin, already questioning yourself, already feeling fragile. And that's when they strike with that innocent question and that smile that doesn't reach their eyes. But here's what they don't know. You've evolved past the version of yourself that falls for surface-level sympathy. You can see through the performance now, and once you understand their game, they lose all power. Section 2. The mechanism, 1 to 3. They're not asking if you're okay because they care about the answer. They're fishing for confirmation that you're cracking under pressure they helped create. Think about it. When did these check-ins intensify? Right after you set a boundary? Right after you walked away from toxicity? Right after you stopped explaining yourself? These aren't random wellness checks. They're tactical strikes designed to destabilize your peace and make you second-guess the very decisions that freed you. Every time you respond with your real feelings, every time you open up about your struggles, you're handing them ammunition they'll store for future use. They're building a database of your breaking points. The weird smile is the tell. A genuine person checking on you has soft eyes and open body language. But these energy scanners, their smile is tight, rehearsed, and it never quite matches the energy behind their eyes. It's a mask they wear while running diagnostics on your emotional state. They're looking for hesitation in your voice, shadows under your eyes, tension in your shoulders. They're analyzing your response time, measuring your confidence level, checking if you've been crying. And here's the disturbing part. They get a subtle satisfaction when they detect weakness. Not because they want to help you heal, because they want to confirm you're still controllable, still accessible, still vulnerable to their influence. You've probably noticed this person shows up most when you're genuinely doing well, when you're aligned and focused and moving forward with purpose. That's because your strength threatens their sense of superiority. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your boundaries reveal their manipulation. So they probe, poke, and prod with that fake concern, hoping to find an opening they can widen later. They ask, "Are you okay?" The same way a thief checks if your door is locked. They're testing your defenses. And if you respond with full transparency, explaining your stress, your doubts, your fears, you've essentially given them the blueprint to your fortress while showing them exactly where the weak points are. Section 3. The profile. 3 to 5. Let's talk about who these people actually are. They're often in your close circle or trying desperately to get there. They might be the co-worker who always wants to grab coffee and catch up, the family member who calls right when you're in transition, the old friend who resurfaces every time you post about a win, or the acquaintance who inserts themselves into your life during vulnerable seasons. What they all have in common is this: they study your patterns obsessively. They know when you post, when you're silent, when you're struggling. They're watching your energy output like stock market traders watching numbers, waiting for the dip so they can swoop in. These aren't full-blown villains in most cases. They're wounded people who never healed, so they feed off the emotional energy of others to feel alive. They're the ones who seem to have advice for everything you're going through, yet their own lives are in constant chaos. Notice that paradox. They're experts on your healing journey, but can't seem to fix their own dysfunction. That's because they don't actually want solutions. They want connection to your light, because theirs went out long ago, and they never learned how to reignite it from within. So they hover around people who glow, asking intrusive questions disguised as care, hoping some of that energy transfers. The dangerous ones are those who've studied manipulation techniques, either consciously or unconsciously. They've learned that people drop their guard when someone shows concern. They know that "Are you okay?" opens doors that direct confrontation never could. They've mastered the art of extracting information without seeming nosy, of making you feel guilty for not sharing, of positioning themselves as your only safe space to vent. And once you start venting to them regularly, you've created an energetic cord they can pull whenever they need a boost. Your struggles become their entertainment. Your breakthroughs become their envy. Your peace becomes their target. Section 4. The signs. 5 to 7. Here's how you know someone is checking for cracks versus genuinely caring. First, notice the frequency and timing. Real concern shows up consistently, not just when you're visibly struggling or succeeding. These energy scanners appear cyclically, always when your emotional state is shifting. Second, watch what they do with the information you share. A true friend takes your confession and holds it sacred. A manipulator takes it and either uses it against you later, shares it with others under the guise of concern, or brings it up repeatedly to keep you feeling small. Third, observe their reaction when you say you're actually doing great. Do they seem genuinely happy or subtly disappointed? Pay attention to the questions that follow their initial "Are you okay?" A caring person asks open-ended questions and listens without agenda. But someone scanning for cracks will dig for specifics. They'll ask about your relationships, your finances, your mental state, your spiritual practices, anything that reveals where you might be uncertain or unstable. They're not making conversation. They're conducting an interrogation disguised as care. And if you shut down or give vague answers, watch how quickly they pivot to sharing their own problems to make you feel obligated to reciprocate with deeper disclosure. It's a psychological trade they're trying to establish. Another major sign is how you feel after these interactions. Genuine support leaves you feeling lighter, seen, and encouraged. But conversations with energy scanners leave you feeling drained, exposed, and somehow worse than before you talked. You might not be able to pinpoint why, but your nervous system registers the extraction. You gave energy and got nothing nourishing in return. That exhaustion isn't coincidence. It's the result of someone pulling from your reserves without contributing anything valuable. They asked questions, gathered intel, and left you emptier. Meanwhile, they walk away feeling informed, superior, and more connected to drama that isn't theirs. Section 5. The Defense, 7 to 9. So how do you protect yourself without seeming cold or paranoid? Simple. You become selectively transparent. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world, and that's not being guarded, that's being wise. When someone asks, "Are you okay?" and your gut tells you something's off, respond with surface-level truth. "Yeah, just busy with work," or "I'm good, thanks for asking," and immediately redirect the conversation. Don't elaborate. Don't explain. Don't fill the silence with your real feelings. Let them sit with your boundary. Their discomfort with your emotional unavailability will reveal whether they truly cared or just wanted data. Another powerful technique is mirroring their energy back. When they ask how you are, flip it immediately. "I'm managing. How about you?" And watch what happens. Energy vampires hate when the spotlight turns on them because they don't actually want connection, they want extraction. If they deflect quickly and push the focus back to you, that's confirmation they're scanning, not supporting. A genuine person will actually share and engage in reciprocal conversation. This simple test separates the authentic from the parasitic within seconds. You don't need to accuse or confront. Just observe how they respond to balanced energy exchange. Most importantly, seal your energy field before these interactions. Visualize yourself surrounded by reflective light that bounces their probing energy back to them without absorbing it. Set the internal intention that you're only sharing what serves your highest good, and that all manipulation attempts will fail. This isn't about becoming hard or closed off. It's about becoming discerning. Your energy is currency, and you wouldn't hand cash to every stranger who smiled at you. Apply that same logic to your emotional and spiritual resources. Only those who've earned trust through consistent, reciprocal, authentic connection get access to your depths. Everyone else gets your polite, boundaried surface. Section 6. The Empowerment, 9/11. Here's the truth that changes everything. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your emotional state. Not your family, not your friends, not your co-workers, not random acquaintances who suddenly act concerned. Your inner world is yours to protect and share as you see fit. The people who truly love you won't weaponize your vulnerability. They won't store your confessions for later use. They won't smile weird while asking if you're okay because their concern is authentic, not performative. You can feel the difference in your body. Trust that feeling every single time. And for those of you who've already shared too much with the wrong people, it's not too late to reclaim your power. Stop feeding them updates. Stop explaining your decisions. Stop justifying your boundaries. When they reach out with that suspicious concern, Give them nothing substantial to work with. Be polite but impenetrable. Over time, they'll lose interest and move on to someone more accessible. That's not rejection. That's natural selection. You're simply no longer a viable energy source, so they'll seek supply elsewhere. And you'll finally have peace from their constant surveillance disguised as friendship. Remember that your breaking points are sacred information. The moments you're struggling aren't public domain. You get to choose who witnesses your process and who gets left outside the door. And anyone who makes you feel guilty for having boundaries, who pushes when you pull back, who demands transparency you're not comfortable giving, has already shown you they value access over respect. Believe them. Your intuition about that weird smile, that off-putting energy, that feeling of being studied rather than supported. It's all accurate. You're not imagining it. You're perceiving correctly. And now that you know what you're dealing with, you can move accordingly. Section 7. The conclusion. 11:12:30. So, awakened ones, the next time someone slides up with that tilted head and asks, "Are you okay?" with a smile that doesn't sit right, you'll know exactly what's happening. They're not checking on you. They're checking you for cracks, for openings, for weaknesses they can file away and exploit when convenient. But here's what they don't realize. You're not the same person you were when you used to spill everything to anyone who asked. You've learned that privacy is power. You've learned that boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. You've learned that not everyone who appears concerned actually cares. Some people just want front row seats to your struggles so they can feel better about their own lives. Your energy field isn't a public resource. Your emotional state isn't community property. Your journey isn't a spectator sport. You get to decide who has access and who gets the polite, surface-level version of you. And there's nothing cold or wrong about that. It's called self-preservation. It's called wisdom. It's called honoring yourself enough to recognize when someone's interest in your well-being is actually interest in your weakness. They came looking for cracks, but what they found instead was someone who's learned to seal every opening, someone who's too aware to fall for fake concern, someone who's finally awake to the game. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that uncomfortable energy when certain people ask if you're okay, drop a comment below and say, "I see through it now." Let's create a community of people who refuse to be scanned, probed, or manipulated by wolves in caregivers' clothing. Subscribe so you never miss content that arms you with awareness. Share this with someone who needs permission to trust their gut about that one person who always asks too many questions with that strange smile. And remember, chosen ones, your peace is your priority. Protect it fiercely, guard it wisely, and never apologize for being selectively available. You've earned the right to discernment. Now walk in it,